Powered flight is perhaps the most remarkable and fascinating ability concerning bird species as a whole, and in birds of prey this is certainly no exception. With all living species considered, the families that include all extant birds of prey species contain some of the fastest and most powerful flying animals on the planet, with each having its own unique flight style and hunting techniques geared towards targeting specific kinds of prey in various different environments. While some species are perfectly designed to soar effortlessly at great heights and over vast distances in search of food, others are extremely fast and dynamic, able to reach speeds not matched by any other living animal, making them devastating aerial predators of other birds. But how do birds of prey, and indeed all flying birds, manage to take to the air in the first place? And what kind of aerodynamic processes are involved in maintaining their ability to defy gravity? In this video, we are going to be examining in detail the anatomical features of bird wings and how they are so vital in taking to the air, along with the various different kinds of shapes and sizes they can adopt amongst the raptor family in relation to the wide variety of aerial flight maneuvers and hunting techniques employed by these birds. We shall also be looking at 3 distinct families of raptors based on their unique wing shape, and how they both compare and contrast to one another within the context of falconry itself. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy this kind of content. Flying birds already have a range of physical adaptations that enable them to take flight. These include a lightweight yet strong skeleton, internalized air sacs, and of course feathers. However, it is the wings themselves that are paramount in enabling a flying animal of any kind to take flight in the first place. Flying birds of all kinds have wings that come in various shapes and sizes, but they all have the same basic structure and feather arrangement. The primaries are the long extensive feathers at the front of the wing, which almost resemble fingers, and the secondaries are found at the base of the wing behind the primaries, with the length and shape of both sets of these feathers varying depending on the species of bird in question. The rest of the surface of the wing consists mostly of feathers, which cover the base of the primaries and secondaries growing from within, alongside the alula, a feathered projection at the anterior edge of the wing itself. These coverts do serve their own aerodynamic purposes, as well as other functions including basic insulation. This feather arrangement on the wings is basically universal not only to all birds of prey, but indeed all flying bird species worldwide, as nicely illustrated by this cormorant opening its wings. When looking at the cross-section of a wing, it has quite the distinctive, slightly curved shape, with the front end being considerably thicker and more curved than the other side, which is comparatively more narrow. While the top of the wing is slightly curved, the underside is mostly flat, which has a dramatic effect when encountering a flow of air. With the top of the wing having a slightly greater surface area being curved, this means that the flow of air travelling across the top of the wing ends up travelling faster than the airflow travelling beneath it. This results in a change in air pressure, with higher pressure beneath the wing and lower pressure above. The higher air pressure beneath the bird's wing ultimately pushes it upwards, which is how a bird's wing achieves lift. This particular shape that leads to this kind of phenomenon is known as an aerofoil. The aerofoil shape of bird wings, indeed alongside the wings of all flying animals, is one of the main factors counteracting the force of gravity by providing them with lift. However, when a bird takes off into flight, they also must counteract the forces of air resistance, or drag, via another essential force needed to sustain flight, thrust. Birds achieve thrust by simply flapping their wings forcefully during takeoff, and the primary feathers, the largest leading feathers at the front of the wing, are essential in this process. When birds flap their wings, it causes the air flowing over them to spiral at the trailing edge, and these powerful vortices essentially thrust the bird forwards. Alongside these powerful muscular movements, the primaries fan out per wing beat, propelling the bird further still. Each wing usually has 10 individual primary feathers, and their role in flight is so essential that if all of them are severely damaged or lost in some way, the bird's ability to fly is severely impeded or even lost altogether. Moving along from the primary feathers are the secondary feathers, which are the feathers found along the base or arm part of the wing itself. These feathers contribute to providing much of the lift a bird wing sustains, as they make up quite a large part of the surface area overall. The number and size of individual secondary feathers varies from species to species, and generally those that have larger secondary feathers on the wing tend to be somewhat more buoyant in flight. Then there is the alula, located at the anterior edge of the wing, adjacent to where the wrist is located itself. Made up of a number of small flight feathers in this area, the alula normally remains relatively flat against the wing itself, but it can be manipulated to some degree. The alula feathers are believed to assist a bird when it comes to making a sharp turn in the air or when coming into land at high speed, as they are observed to fan out during this manoeuvre to act almost like brakes. If you look closely at this bald eagle coming into land, you may notice the alula feathers sticking out as he comes in from above. When a bird makes a sharp turn or steep dive in flight, as well as when it comes in to land, the alula feathers, in conjunction with a few other feathers on the wings, work much like the flaps on the wings of an aeroplane as seen here, fanning outwards to enable a slow, controlled descent while simultaneously preventing the bird from stalling and potentially falling out of the air. Another significant factor contributing to the aerodynamics of flight is wing loading, which is particularly variable amongst flying birds, including raptors. In aerodynamics, wing loading is the total weight of an aircraft or flying animal divided by the area of its wing. The wing loading of a bird, i.e. its wing size in relation to its total body mass, will impact various factors relating to the bird's overall flight, including its overall flight speed, maneuverability, and also the amount of lift its wings can generate. The speed at which a bird, or indeed an aircraft, takes off and lands is also influenced partly by its wing loading, as well as overall maneuverability and turning performance. The larger the surface area of the wing, the greater the air movement produced, and thus more lift provided at any given speed. Some species, such as this barn owl for example, have an especially low wing loading, with particularly large and broad wings in relation to their lightweight body, in comparison to some other similar sized birds. The large surface area of the wings combined with the owl's minimal body weight of less than a kilo, and the barn owl is able to produce a tremendous amount of lift with relatively little effort, giving it an almost butterfly-like flight. The broad and rounded wings make the barn owl and indeed other owl species relatively slow flyers, but since they usually hunt small prey under the cover of darkness, stealth is more important than speed. Owls are also well known for being able to fly in near complete silence, thanks to a few anatomical modifications on their wings. As well as having soft, fluffy feathers on the top of the wings, an owl's wing also has primary feathers on the leading edge which have distinctive comb-like filaments, both of which reduce turbulence and help break down sound to a minimum per wing beat. Also, since owls don't need to beat their wings as much as some other similar-sized birds, this only adds to their stealthy approach, where they can sneak up on prey undetected in the dark. In contrast, many of the fast-flying falcon species have a comparatively much higher wing loading. These raptors have a comparatively much heavier and denser musculoskeletal system compared to birds such as owls, and so they have to beat their comparatively more narrow wings much more rapidly in order to take off and maintain their flight. This, however, is what largely contributes to their rapid acceleration, which combined with their incredible muscular power, enables falcons to reach incredible speeds, capturing birds on the wing with absolute mastery. Underneath all of those feathers, a bird wing vaguely resembles the anatomy of a human arm, with a humerus connecting the shoulder to the elbow, and the two lower arm bones, the radius and ulna. The remaining bones that would make up the hand of the wing are fused together at the tip of the wing, forming a rigid and pointed looking structure, though it is now known that this once supported 3 fully formed clawed fingers in their dinosaurian ancestors. The basal musculature of the wing itself is well formed, especially on the forearm and bicep, but the pectoralis muscles connecting the wings to the breastbone or sternum is gigantic in comparison. In fact, in some species of flying birds, the combined mass of the pectoralis or breast muscles on both sides can make up more than 20% of their overall body weight. These muscles are essential for enabling a bird to beat its wings so powerfully when flying, particularly in the downstroke, which is what provides much of the bird's thrust. In theory, the deeper the bird's keel, the larger the breast muscles attaching, and therefore the more capable a bird is of long-distance powered flight. Connecting between the shoulder and wrist of a bird's wing above the elbow is the propatagium, a stretch of membranous tissue which assists in providing the aerofoil shape needed for generating lift. The tendon attachment within this tissue also provides the wing with some extra elasticity. As a brief side note within this video discussing bird wing anatomy, it is now known that dinosaurs, aka the extinct non-avian dinosaurs, belong to the same family group as all modern birds, referred to as avian dinosaurs. Both dinosaurs and birds have anatomical features that are not seen in any other animal on the planet, most notably the theropod dinosaurs, the group which modern birds descended from. Perhaps most significant of these features shared by both of these groups are of course feathers, with many species, including the infamous velociraptor and its relatives, having a plumage of feathers covering their bodies. Many of these dinosaurs even had pronounced feathers on their forelimbs appearing like small wings, even though they were mostly flightless. Which brings up a point of interest that is somewhat of an elephant in the room when it comes to regarding the accuracy of paleontological reconstructions, notably in this case, how these dinosaurs actually held their forelimbs. In many reconstructions of dinosaurs in pop culture, especially in Jurassic Park, many of the more quote-unquote bird-like dinosaurs, especially Velociraptor, are shown to have long forward-facing arms with pronated wrists, which in reality is inaccurate. A real-life Velociraptor would have likely broken or dislocated its wrists if they were facing at this angle. In reality, all non-avian theropod dinosaurs, including Velociraptor and even T-Rex, had non-pronated forelimbs, with the inside of their hands, or proto-wings if you will in some species, facing inward, as if they were to clap together. They would have held their forelimbs in almost the exact same position as how modern birds, including modern birds of prey, hold their wings down at the sides, except that the prehistoric raptors had clawed fingers on their forelimbs instead of fully formed wings, and as far as we know, they certainly could not engage in fully formed powered flight like their modern relatives. With all of these remarkable attributes, bird of prey wings, along with the wings of all other flying birds, are remarkable pieces of anatomy, essential in enabling these birds to be the skillful aerial predators that they are. Now that we have established the functional anatomy of bird wings, now we shall look in more detail at 3 of the individual groups in falconry which are used to classify different kinds of birds based on their wing shape: the broadwings, longwings, and shortwings. First of all, let's have a look at the broadwings. As the name of this group suggests, the birds in this category have particularly broad wings with enlarged primary and secondary feathers. The wings are often relatively long in relation to the body size as well, giving them a large surface area. In falconry terms, the phrase broadwing specifically refers to the family of raptors known as bootios, which in Europe and here in the UK are referred to as buzzards, whereas in North America they are usually referred to as hawks, which causes some obvious confusion. These include species such as the common buzzard, a very abundant kind of raptor found here in the UK, and the red-tailed buzzard in North America, both of which have particularly large broad wings in relation to their body size, and are frequently observed soaring at great altitude over large distances in search of prey. However, although the phrase broadwing is usually only made to describe bootios, it could technically also be applied to other broadwing species, including vultures, eagles, and potentially even ospreys, who themselves have especially large broad wings in relation to their body mass. All of these species have the potential to be masters at soaring in flight, with especially large wings and enlarged primary feathers to maximize the amount of lift they can acquire, especially in situations where they can ride on thermals or other air currents to save energy. However, some of these birds, particularly bootios and eagles, still have the ability to move especially fast and turn with surprising agility in lowland areas and even in spaces of cover when in direct pursuit of their prey. Bootios such as red-tailed and common buzzards are able to hunt prey even in enclosed woodland areas, as well as being able to soar at high altitude over open ground to pursue prey that way. Broad-winged raptors can still reach surprising speeds in level flight when in direct pursuit. The golden eagle, for example, despite its large size, can reach speeds of up to 40 to 60 miles per hour in level flight, and though they may not be as swift as some other species of raptors in the initial acceleration after takeoff, they are capable of pursuing prey over somewhat greater distances. When it comes to hunting, however, eagles and larger bootios are arguably at their best when soaring at great heights and then dropping onto prey at great speed. These birds can fold their wings and plummet downwards at tremendous speeds, and while not quite the fastest birds on the planet, they can still sometimes reach speeds of over 100 miles per hour or more in a dive or stoop. Another species of raptor frequently considered to be a part of the broadwing family within the context of falconry is the Harris hawk. This interesting species has physical traits similar to both accipiters, the true hawks, and bootios, the broad-winged buzzards. In fact, the Harris hawk's scientific name, parabutio, means like buzzard, as they share many physical characteristics. Like the larger members of the true hawk family, that being accipiters, Harris hawks have an especially long tail, but their wings appear to be comparatively broader than those of true hawks such as the similar-sized goshawk, with primary feathers that appear to be marginally longer in comparison. While usually not quite as large as those of other true bootios such as red-tail and common buzzards in relation to their body size, their wings still seem to be somewhat more buzzard-like than those of the shortwings or true hawks. With these relatively broad wings, Harris hawks can, in the right conditions, soar about as effortlessly as most true bootios. They can also glide swiftly across open ground and into cover in pursuit of prey, with their long tails providing them with extra agility. With this long tail providing extra manoeuvrability in flight, combined with wings that are not too long to prevent them from flying into cover, and Harris hawks are remarkably versatile flyers, almost a jack-of-all-trades kind of bird, if you will. Contrary to frequent opinion, Harris hawks once fit are not slow at all, and while still not quite as fast as the best goshawk, they are still capable of chasing down some of the swiftest game in all kinds of environments. The next group of discussion is the longwings, which encompasses all of the falcon family, including species such as the gerfalcon, lanner falcon, and of course, the infamous peregrine falcon. These birds often have especially long wings in relation to their body size, with particularly enlarged primary feathers with pointed tips, giving their wings an almost sickle-shaped appearance. These long and powerful wings are usually not as broad as those of buzzards or eagles, although some larger species of falcons can have broader wings than smaller ones. This wing shape is designed specifically for generating maximum speed and power in flight. As mentioned earlier, falcons have a relatively high wing loading, mostly because their wings are comparatively more narrow and streamlined than other birds, but also because they have a comparatively heavier muscle mass to generate the powerful wing beats needed for acceleration in the first place. The muscular power of a falcon, combined with its aerodynamic wing shape, is what enables them to reach such high speeds. In fact, falcons are almost incapable of flying slowly at all as a result. As well as travelling at great speeds, some falcon species, for example the gyrfalcons, are also known to travel great distances when hunting across open tundra, relying on their sheer endurance as well as their speed to chase down prey in level flight. Of course, longwings are best known for reaching their tremendous aerial speed when they enter their famous dives or stoops, and in this context, the fastest of them all is of course the peregrine. Their most famous hunting technique is flying high at great altitude, and then upon spotting prey down below them, they close their pointed wings against their bodies, plummeting downwards at speeds that can reach up to 200 miles per hour or more. When descending into a high-speed stoop, a peregrine will often angle its pointed wingtips against its body, with the anterior edge of its wings protruding somewhat from either side of the body. It has recently been discovered that this particular posture, known as the cupped wing position, is a component in enabling peregrines to reach such high speeds. The streamlined shape of this posture significantly reduces drag, and flowing air is squeezed into channels going underneath each of the wings. Because this channel of air is compressed under the wings, it travels considerably faster, therefore propelling the peregrine forward and enabling it to go even faster. This phenomenon is known as the Venturi effect, and it is also seen in Formula 1 race cars, which enables them to go even faster. To travel even faster still, the peregrine will completely close its wings and form a perfect teardrop shape, reducing drag even further as it goes into a free fall. The tremendous speed and aerial control of falcons like the peregrine makes them incredibly effective predators, especially of other birds in flight, able to plummet out of the heavens at hundreds of miles per hour and strike prey with devastating force and precision. Intense speed, but also power and endurance, are the trademark hunting qualities of falcons like these. After broadwings and longwings comes the final group, the shortwings. This falconry terminology is used to describe the family of birds known as accipiters, or the true hawks. Perhaps most notable of this family group is the northern goshawk, the largest and most powerful of all living true hawks. However, there is also the Eurasian sparrowhawk, a much smaller but more abundant species that can be found in Britain and Europe, alongside the similar-looking North American Cooper's hawk and sharp-shinned hawks. All of these birds are dynamic aerial predators that can hunt in a range of different environments, but their stronghold is of course wooded country, or indeed anywhere with partial or extensive cover. Species in this group tend to have relatively short or medium-length wings, which are relatively broad and rounded, with comparatively shorter primary feathers compared to birds such as buzzards. They also have especially long tails in relation to their body size, and their plumage tends to be somewhat stiffer and more streamlined than that of soaring raptors. Shortwings are certainly capable of soaring, but their main aerial strong point is making dashing, agile maneuvers pursuing prey on the wing, especially over short distances. Like longwings, they beat their wings very rapidly in flight for takeoff and to sustain their pursuit, and in terms of their initial acceleration, some accipiters are second to none. A goshawk, for example, can reach up to 40 to 50 miles per hour in level flight when chasing prey, but their initial acceleration is what's truly impressive, for they can reach near maximum speed in what seems like a matter of seconds. A fit accipiter can chase down prey over considerable distances, but their initial burst of speed is what gives them their true advantage. Having such long tail feathers in relation to their body size, true hawks like goshawks and sparrowhawks are incredibly manoeuvrable birds, able to twist and turn in flight when pursuing prey at high speed, almost mirroring its movements. Their long tail can also act as a brake, fanning out in mid-flight, which enables them to make very sharp turns around stationary objects. For example, when flying past a tree trunk in pursuit of a rabbit, for example, in the case of a goshawk. These birds are also infamous for their ability to maneuver through cover while maintaining the high-speed pursuit of a moving prey item in thick undergrowth. Because of their relatively short wingtips, exhibitors can fly through gaps that many other longer-wing raptors would struggle to get past. To squeeze through even smaller gaps, goshawks and sparrowhawks, for example, will often sometimes completely close their wings momentarily to slip through gaps between trees, whilst fanning out their long tail feathers to act almost like a third wing, maintaining lift. A short wing, therefore, is able to maintain its pursuit of moving prey in thick undergrowth in positions that would cause other birds to break or even abort the chase altogether. With their incredible aerial acceleration, alongside their unmatched agility, short wings are truly extraordinary predators and are a force to be reckoned with, especially in their domain of woodland territory, where the unique flight style and hunting techniques of this group truly comes into its own. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video discussing birdwing anatomy and aerodynamics, and hope you found it interesting. For more falconry and bird of prey content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until then, I'll see you next time.